Hey friends, the Iron Banner is back in town, and I wanted to discuss the weapon rolls that drop from the loot pool. As you can see on d2gunsmith.com, I searched for the trait perk, which is Skulking Wolf, right here, and all of the new weapons come up. So we have Riiswalker, Peacebond, Occluded Finality, Forge's Pledge, Frontier's Cry, Razor's Edge, Archon's Thunder, and Finite Impactor. Now, the thing about these weapons is that although we've had like Riiswalker in the past, there are some new perks that are added onto it. I don't remember exactly what was taken away, if anything. So, I think if you get a Riiswalker, we don't overcomplicate it. Full choke is good for those longer range cleanups, makes the pellet spread tighter. However, you can't go wrong with small bore either if you're going to just hip fire. If you're not aiming down sights anyway, you don't even get a benefit from full choke. But as far as just a daily driver shotgun, you can't go wrong with Iron Reach to improve the range on every shot, Accurized or Assault Mag for the magazine as usual, and the barrel, try to get full choke or some range. I'm not sure if smoothbore is good on this one. If you want a different quick draw experience, like you use 6 Coyote for double dodge, Revenant for shuriken, armamentarium, etc., it's easier to cycle surplus, which gives you true quick draw. So instead of it feeling like 74 handling after a second after swapping, it feels like 100 handling all the time, as long as you have at least 2 abilities charged. So surplus is the next best thing. I still think 74 handling on quick draw is fast enough that you don't have to worry about using the quick charge mod on your gauntlets. So this adds 25 handling to the shotgun. Yeah, so on this right column, Iron Reach is probably the one to go for because a flat range boost is always useful. However, Harmony is also pretty tempting to me. I use my primary a lot, so if this 20% damage boost and the handling boost, I guess, is nothing to ignore. But yeah, damage boost after getting a primary kill, probably going to come in clutch, save you a bullet or two. So let's move on to the next weapon. Again, let's not overcomplicate Riiswalker. Go range, quick draw. Peacebond I see as a tool for cleaning up something like a Lorentz driver or a sniper rifle, so therefore I think Harmony is the play to make the 2 taps more consistent. This is a burst sidearm. If you go for chambered compensator, it pushes the recoil direction up to exactly 100. Then with perpetual motion, if you move around for 10 seconds or whatever, you get an extra 10 stability, which makes it 100 stability. So we're looking at 100 stability, 100 recoil direction, then a damage and handling boost after another weapon kill, and then handling boost also stacks with perpetual motion, so we're plus 20 on perpetual, plus 15, plus the base 50. So it's going to feel like quick draw. It's close enough. There are some other valuable perks here. You could go Iron Reach and Rangefinder to pump out the range a little bit more, but at that point, just use a multi-mock. It's gonna do better. So yeah, you also have Headstone if you're going for a stasis build. I muted there for a second. My voice was dying. Anyhow, let's move on to the next weapon, which I think is Occluded Finality, which is the simplest of them all. Don't overcomplicate this. I know this zoom level of 58 recently got a nerf, but it doesn't seem like it matters because if I play Eternity, no matter how much flinch I put down range, I'm still domed. This is the optimal roll because opening shot adds plus 20 range. So you get 100 range, which means max accuracy on this, as well as opening shot adding aim assist and accuracy cone growth. So, or benefits to the accuracy cone degradation, whatever. Just don't overcomplicate it. Fluted, ricochet so that if you miss, there's a chance you kill someone you didn't intend to. Snapshot to get down the sights faster of this telescope, and opening shot to make it an easier shooting experience. For PvE, obviously there's like firing line, Vorpal weapon with auto-loading holster, so definitely get that if you're using an arc-centric build. In the theme of not overcomplicating things, don't even worry about the barrel. It's going to be good enough because its arc type is very forgiving. Accurized rounds to boost the range just a little bit. Surplus to add all stats if you can cycle the surplus and manage it. If not, just go Zen Moment. I know on M&K it doesn't make as big of a difference, but what else are you really going to use there? Maybe heating up if you want to map people. But on the right column, I go Rampage because it makes the second kill a clean 2 burst if you hit all heads, and that does come up. And you can stack this to high rampage stack, so it does absolutely come up. You could go the iron grip route or the elemental capacitor route if you want like extra strafe on stasis, or just high handling at base, or extra stability, even though you could just go iron grip and take the reload penalty and just not worry about what subclass you are. Overall though, I do recommend just keeping it simple. Something that helps the stability, and then rampage. The next weapon is one of the new weapons, the Frontier's Cry hand cannon. If you pump out the range, you can get it all the way to 97 with Iron Reach accurized full bore in a range masterwork. That's almost 35 meter damage fall off, which is incredible with this archetype of hand cannon, because the rest of the 180s struggle to hit even close to that. They struggle to break 30 sometimes. I don't think this is the way to go on this cannon, unless you're using something like Dragon Shadow or Ophidians to offset this poor handling. Now you could go the Steady Hands perk, but that requires a kill. I played around with Adagio, and overall, I'm going to be very blunt on this one. This is a terrible hand cannon, a terrible archetype of hand cannon, so that's why this is bad. Even with Adagio, right, it drops down to 150 RPM. It goes from hitting 57 damage to 75, which means 2 head, 1 body, and it still maintains that 30 to 35 meter depending on like what you roll, right? So it's pretty good. I tried to use it with Firewalker, Path of the Burning Steps, to boost the damage even more. So I get 1 kill, then I'm hitting, instead of 57, now 75 to the head. And then if I get 2 kills and activate Firewalker and Adagio at the same time, it hits 89 to the head. And while that's a lot better, the time to kill really doesn't change, but the distance at which you can fight the enemy does change. And the problem with the 180 RPM is that the 120 RPM exists. So I could use Igneous Hammer and completely offset the handling stat by having Quick Draw and Snapshot. I hit 80 per bullet at base, similar time to kill, and then if I get a damage booster like Firewalker or with Charge with Light, which I do run consistently, so Precision Charge double kill plus High Energy Fire equals a damage bonus, that makes the Igneous Hammer hit 95 or 96 to the head, which is a 2-tap on some resiliences. With Rampage, you guarantee that 2-tap on all resiliences. And if you have Firewalker up, it's pretty spicy. I'm going to show you some clips here. So pay attention, I'm about to throw a barricade, get a shotgun kill, or a melee or something like that. Now I have Sun Warrior, which is a damage bonus. Adagio stacks up with Sun Warrior, and I'm hitting 89 to the head. Now that I got the hand cannon kills, you can't see Adagio is procced, but it is procced. When Sun Warrior goes away, it should appear. So now I had 1 or 2 seconds of Adagio, 89, 89, 69. So with Firewalker, it hits 69, which is the perfect 3-tap. That's kind of cool. Then it goes to 89 with 2 of the damage bonuses, and I don't think any of the other damage bonuses stack beyond 2. So that's what you're stuck with. So that looks pretty good, right? But you're about to see something even better. So Gallarhorn is about to proc Firewalker. Then Gallarhorn tags him, I clean up a 2-tap, and it just continues. I have 2 Firewalker stacks and 2 Rampage stacks. That is a 1 head, 1 body kill. Similar time to kill to the base Frontier. So after seeing that, I know you can't get Igneous Hammer anymore, but still we have to compare it to what exists, what you can use. Yes, so Frontier's Cry, not very good. In fact, I believe in this so much that I am going to just delete it. I even tried Adagio in PvE. I was like, alright, so maybe it'll make it so that 1 headshot cleanly kills a red bar ad. I was wrong. It doesn't do that. It does have another perk called Adaptive Munitions, which is really good for endgame PvE. So if you were going to go that route, Adaptive Munitions, I think 1 for all has got to be the play. It's a 35 damage bonus. You still maintain your 180 RPM, so you can quickly proc 1 for all. And if you stack Firewalker and other things on top of it, it will cleanly 1-tap or 2-tap some ads. Whereas with the other archetypes of hand cannon or the other damage boosters, you're going to have to either shoot 1 extra shot or it's just not going to be exactly a one tap. So yeah, that's all I have to say on this. Overall, bad reload speed, bad handling, bad stability, phenomenal range. Pretty bad perks on the left column that aren't realistically going to come up except maybe rapid hit. Steady hands if you can actually get kills with this, but that's a tall order considering you're working with a longer time to kill anyway. Yeah, I don't really have much good to say about this hand cannon other than aesthetically it's really pleasing, and the 180 RPM archetype is fun to use, and for brand new Destiny players, specifically on controller, who are not very familiar with PvP, try a 180 RPM out. They're going to be very user-friendly. So they're easy to use, but you don't really gain much advantage for using them. Maybe a well-designed weapon, right? But the problem is everything else in the game isn't designed the same. So just use a 120, just use a 140. Don't overcomplicate it. I know someone's going to be complaining in the comment section that I talk bad about this hand cannon, but I really don't think you can defend it. This archetype is just bad. Maybe put one in your vault for a later rainy day when they decide to buff this. Maybe go for a specific Dragon Shadow or Ophidian aspect build. Maybe Top Tree Dawnblade, something like that. I don't know. This is very, very, very difficult gun to redeem and make something useful out of it. This Razor's Edge has some PvE implications. Frenzy, 15% damage increase. And then Unrelenting to get health back. It also has chain reaction, so if you get a kill in front of ads or whatnot, they blow up. It's also Void, so you get to use volatile rounds on it to improve the damage and chain reaction stuff further. I would just say look up this sword's name and look up some PvE gamer in Destiny 2, and they'll tell you exactly why this is good in PvE, but as far as its PvP implications, it doesn't really come up. Will I keep a role like Frenzy Unrelenting or Chain Reaction Unrelenting? Absolutely. I'll keep it because this might come up for like Prophecy first encounter where you have to kill the shield guy and swords are optimal. But then again, why wouldn't I just use Eager's Edge the entire time with Vorpal Weapon and then the ability to swing the sword and fly very far, which saves time on the overall strike or encounter. I don't know, maybe Vortex Frame gets a buff, maybe it's like the Atrax Slayer again in Deepstone Crypt. Keep your eye out for it, but it's not make or break it. That's not going to stop you from completing encounters in Destiny PvE. Now, weirdly enough, this Archon's Thunder is maybe the most desirable weapon out of everything in the current Iron Banner loot pool, mostly because there's a lot of garbage in there. I go for Arrowhead Break to pump the recoil direction to exactly 100. Extended Mag, so when I pull ammo off the wall, I get more bullets. Field Prep, so when I pull ammo off the wall, I get more bullets. And High Impact Reserves. Since my magazine will probably be at halfway exactly anyway, what High Impact Reserves do is that 3 to 6 damage boost you get throughout the bottom half of the magazine makes a difference in the time to kill. With Overshields running around and higher resilience Titans running around, oftentimes you can't get your clean 4-tap, so High Impact Reserves makes that guaranteed. And that's why I recommend this role. So keep an eye out for High Impact Reserves, though you could also build something that's pretty easy to shoot, like Iron Grip and Moving Target. Maybe you want to pump the range out with Rangefinder and then take Iron Gaze for aim assist to push out the sweet spot. There's a lot of ways to go about this, but ultimately I just say have more machine gun bullets. People are going to be surprised that you still have ammo a minute later. Finally, a very bad hand cannon. This time it comes with the Suro Synergy perk, so it now has a reason to be used. And I think what sets this cannon apart from other cannons, especially in the same archetype and elements, is Elemental Capacitor plus Killing Wind. So what this will do is if you play Stasis, it'll let you strafe a little bit faster, and then once Killing Wind activates, you will have the fastest strafe speed possible on a 140 RPM, while also having the anti-flinch of Suro's Synergy. There maybe are a couple PvE combinations here, but I'm pretty sure it's easy to find an Arcane Cannon, considering one drops after every Crucible match anyway. And here's the best part about that. Check this out. You find it. I just got one of these with Moving Target Elemental Capacitor. I want to find it. Also, it has some really good PvE perks like Shoot to Loot. Crisis Inverted. One of them's around here. I keep a lot of them. There it is. It was the first one I probably checked. So Elemental Capacitor, Moving Target. I didn't get the perfect roll, but it's close enough. When you use this on a Stasis class with 10 mobility, you are flying. You can hug cover so nicely, it doesn't require a kill. All you gotta focus on is hitting shots and staying alive. So for that reason, it's a fantastic hand cannon and kind of makes this one less impactful, no pun intended, unless you are proccing the Suro Synergy perk all the time. But at that point, because the base stats on this hand cannon are so bad, why not just go for the Cantata, which also has the Suro Synergy perk, but also has consistency perks like Opening Shot and Hip Fire Grip. Your strafe from hip will always be faster than ADS with any combination of perks. So having this as an option in my head is equivalent to the other gun, except you get to have phenomenal base stats and other perks that also help. What else did I roll on this? Focus Fury is like Baby Hawkmoon perk. You land precision hits for half the magazine and you get a damage bonus for the rest of it. I think it hits like, 80 instead of 70, which is good. It does add up. It does change the precision ratio. Just overall, I don't really think that Iron Banner loot pool right now is redeemable, so let's review. Riiswalker, go for the bread and butter, a quick draw range roll, or some sort of damage booster. You could go min-max hipfire on small bore hipfire grip, and then use quick charge to boost the handling to 100. Peacebond, think of it as a cleanup tool for a sniper rifle or something like that, so for that reason I recommend Harmony. It also has Headstone if you're making a stasis build. Occluded Finality, high aim assist, snapshot, opening shot, try to get that range to 80. Forge's Pledge, consistent pulse rifle, used to have a sway issue on the sights, I believe that's fixed. Build for probably Rampage to make the follow-up kills even more consistent. Frontier's Cry, while it is interesting on the surface, there is almost no redeemable quality about this hand cannon, and you have to specifically build so far into it to make it decent that I just can't recommend it. Maybe keep one for an impending 180 buff. Razor's Edge, PvE sword, look up PvE video, I'm just not experienced enough with it. Archon's Thunder, pull more ammo off the wall, high impact reserves, tip the time to kill to be exactly 4 bullets instead of 5. Finite Impactor, other hand cannons do it better. So now let's talk about this loot pool. We lost Multi-Mach and Steady Hand, 2 best in slot weapons for seemingly no reason. Also, it's Iron Banner, so you can collect thousands of tokens and turn them in, and you're nowhere closer than where you started sometimes. The RNG is that bad, and it's a slap to the face because we have crafting available right now. So why is the Multi-Mach so good? Model 8 Red boosts the zoom to 17, which already pumps the damage fall off farther than sidearms and other SMGs. Then we add accurized rounds, then we add iron reach, then we add a range masterwork. Now suddenly we're at 25 meters, which is a little bit lower than the lowest hand cannons on an SMG. And then on top of that, you can get Killing Wind, which will pump it out closer to 30. So if you get this roll, you can fight hand cannons with a lightweight SMG. This is why people value this gun. And in 6s, you can farm a lobby with kill clip. I have a hipfire kill clip roll, and I don't actually use this that much because I prefer Teraba. But the fact stands, this is a best in slot machine gun, submachine gun, and there's nothing really that replaces it in this expansion. What's the other one called? The submission? Let's just build the adept version for fun. We're trying to compete with 25 meters. So longest range scope, range masterwork, accurized rounds, and we're only at 19.72 meters, almost 20 meters. Let's go adept range, perhaps. 21.3, but we don't also get the Icarus grip, so we can't fight accurately in the air because it's 15 zoom. If this was pushed up to 16, now we're cooking with some fire. If this had a rangefinder on it, now we're cooking with some fire. Because the trade-off of this is that you get Soul Drinker, so after getting hits with the weapon and reloading, you get some health back. So you could argue that losing a perk right here to Multi-Mock just having inherent higher base stats, it would be worth taking Enhanced Rangefinder in this slot, and then having a damage booster in this slot like Frenzy or Harmony or something like that. Or you could just go for Killing Wind and have the longest range possible. So it's kind of strange that we lost Multi-Mock for no apparent reason when there isn't a replacement yet. In the same vein, we have Steady Hand. I know that Igneous Hammer is better on the base stat department. I know that True Prophecy can get some elemental capacitor combos. Well, both of those, or what at least True Prophecy can't get in the same slot, is Quick Draw Snapshot, which pairs nice with Lemon Arc. You can use Lord of Wolves with this. It's fantastic. Me personally, I would love to see a role like maybe this. Maybe go Stability or Handling Masterwork right here. Make it a very consistent experience. So why this specific role? It's because when I play Shadebinder, I typically get freezes, and I typically follow those freezes with a melee hit, which procs Swashbuckler, which allows me to 2-tap most resiliences. Other 120s cannot do this. Other 120s in the kinetic slot cannot do this. It's a best in slot. We don't have a replacement. We have this wonderful crafting system, but there aren't enough weapons in the game. Now, I think, let me search on Twitter real quick, that DMG mentioned that Iron Banner is obviously getting an overhaul. So here we go. Iron Banner bounty is complete on all characters, mostly freelance, but some fun games over the last few days. Loving this new hand cannon, may not be the best in the game, but sounds awesome. Shout out to the Bubble Titans locking down zones. Wait a second. That's not the right one. Here, I was reading it like it was going to be something else. Ah, here it is. Highly recommended you turn in Iron Banner tokens as you get them. I thought this was a reply tweet. If you want to wait until the last minute of the final Iron Banner week, feel free. If you don't spend them or redeem bounties by the end of the season, they will be lost. More info in a future TWAB, but want to give appropriate time to all. So what does this tell me? As an experienced Destiny player, what this tells me is that Iron Banner is getting a reputation overhaul similar to what Vanguard and Crucible got. And I'm going to show you the problem with that right off the rip. First of all, the biggest elephant in the room is the crafting system. And I'm going to make a separate video for this. It is very simple to understand. In order to unlock a pattern, you have to do the activity where the weapon drops, and sometimes a weapon with a red border will drop. Let me see if I have a red border weapon in my vault to show you. Here, I'll just pull a bad sniper rifle from my Postmaster, just to show you what a red box weapon looks like. If it says on the bottom line of text, this weapon has active deep sight resonance that can be progressed, you can safely delete it because you want the pattern. If it's a weapon available to craft, it would say a pattern can be extracted. So then you go to this part of your triumphs and look at it, and it will tell you how many patterns you have successfully completed. So you take your red box weapon, you do a couple Crucible games, a couple strikes, kill some enemies, something like that, and it will level up. Once it's leveled up, you redeem the materials that can be claimed from it, and then it says pattern progress 1 out of 2, or whatever amount you need. Might be like 1 out of 5 for Sweet Sorrow. Wow, that's a lot of red boxes. After that, you can craft the weapon. The weapon will be like, for example, level 1. Then you do the exact same thing. You just use the weapon in activities or switch to it at the very end of an activity, and then it levels up. And after it reaches a certain level, you can change the perks on it for an expensive cost and even take some enhanced perks. Like this Ragnil D min-max shoddy with perpetual motion and enhanced frenzy. Enhanced frenzy is easier upkeep on the perk. It's a more forgiving window. So it's a phenomenal shotgun for that reason. I'm disappointed at how little is in this crafting system in terms of the whole game. I would have much preferred a significantly more complicated, time-consuming crafting system that included the whole game than this shallow offering of a lot of things that just aren't really interesting to me as a PvP-centric player. There are some things, like, don't get me wrong, Underskin Bow has hip fire, the shotgun has the enhanced frenzy. I think the glaives are interesting. I haven't had a lot of time with them yet. The Father's Sins sniper rifle is probably a best in slot, if not tied with Twilight Oath, so I'm not significantly incentivized to go get it right now, but maybe in the future when I have spare material sitting around. Explosive Personality, I think, has Disruption Break, which is kind of nice on that archetype. If you're using like a Dustfield build and want to lock people to the ground and then finish them off with the Thermite. There are some like interesting weapons, but nothing that I want to go out of my way to craft immediately, like I would have jumped at the opportunity to go finally get a multi-mock or a steady hand that I have probably dumped 20 to 30,000 Iron Banner tokens in since those weapons have existed. So here is the problem with the reputation system. It's very nice that I can just play PvP and work my way to a engram. Let me delete an enhancement prism here. I'm rich in Destiny 2. Yeah, so I need to get a certain amount of rank to get this engram or ascendant material. And then engrams stack up here. So in previous seasons, they had a major fuck up where if you grab engrams from here, instead of it being the Crucible loot pool, it's the World loot pool. That's changed. Now I can get Crucible weapons like the Frozen Orbit and the Crisis Inverted. Two weapons that I desperately want to get my hands on a great roll, and two more weapons that I would have been stoked to be in the crafting system. So effectively, what does this change from the previous system? I'm sitting here turning in the equivalent of tokens to get the engrams to ultimately not get what I want because the RNG is too brutal. If I walk up to Saladin and look at the old system, I honestly can't tell the difference. I still am sitting on infinite materials. Yes, they're capped, but I have no need to use them, so they might as well be infinite. I turn in reputation here to not get what I want. Rank 620. So what's the difference of Lord Saladin getting a reputation system in the future? I think we just skip the growing pains and go straight to just making this shit craftable. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section about that. Such a monkey's paw situation we have in Destiny 2. It seemed like we were going to be able to craft all these weapons and be able to use interesting builds right off the rip, or at least have just some sort of time metric to work towards it. No. Still subject to the slot machine. Zavala reputation change? Same thing. Now the Drifter is the system that I would like to see, at the very least, if I have to compromise with Bungie on playtime metrics and RNG mitigation. There's something at Bungie that data says people play this game more when weapons are really difficult to obtain. If that's the case, then let me take an engram right here and just buy what I'm looking for. This is a pretty steep price, all things considered. 1 Gambit engram, 10,000 Glimmer, and 50 Legendary Shards. I made a new account recently. 50 Legendary Shards is not easy to come by. It's a pretty decent investment. So yeah, I would just buy the bottom dollar on repeat until I get what I want, or buy the borrowed time. Why can't Crucible have this same system? Why can't Zavala? Why can't Lord Saladin have this same system? I know this kind of turned into a rant video, but this goes to show what the title says. The Iron Banner system is terrible, and I'm not even getting into the playlist existing right now. Maybe I should get into that. I'm already ranting anyway. So imagine if in this pool I could just go over to the right here, and then there was a list of weapons: Crisis Inverted, Frozen Orbit, etc. Take a Crucible engram, buy it for the same price as Gambit. Okay, cool. I'm at least working towards Frozen Orbits more realistically. Doesn't take an eternity to get a single drop. I'm playing PvP anyway. So now let's talk about Iron Banner's flaws as a playlist. When Iron Banner is around, Control is dead, Rumble is mostly dead, Survival is dead, Showdown is empty, and elimination is sparse, a little bit more population than usual, but still relatively dead by comparison. Iron Banner sucks the entire population in because PvE players have an incentive to play Iron Banner to get pinnacle drops. And PvP players know that the higher population is in Iron Banner, so they go there. If I tried to queue control, the connection quality in the lobby is going to be absolute garbage. So if that's what I have to do or deal with, then I just go to Iron Banner. But now, since light level is enabled, I can't use all my fun builds. So in what world would I not just level up my most effective build so that I have a better chance of winning, so I have a better chance at Iron Banner tokens and I complete my bounties faster so I can get out of the playlist. To make matters worse, Trials of Osiris doesn't roll around when Iron Banner is around, and Iron Banner just isn't a good enough playlist to sustain my interest the entire week, especially since if I want to have a competitive shot at shooting other Guardians, I have to be around the 1550 to 1560 area. I tried Iron Banner this week on a 1520 and a 1530 Guardian, and it was miserable. I was using all sorts of different archetypes, but it ultimately amounted to me having to put in an extra 0.3 second time to killing everybody, and they had to only 2-tap me. So I was essentially running around just sniping them in the face and getting bagged by 6 stacks the entire time. I don't think it's a good playlist. Oh, this is the biggest part of the rant right here. Holy shit. Skulking Wolf. During the hunt, final blows with this weapon grant enhanced radar and remove you from opposing radar. What's a hunt? So in Iron Banner, if you capture all 3 zones, you get 3 times the amount of score. The zones lock for 30 seconds, and after those 30 seconds, they reset. So your team has to break a spawn trap to capture a zone to cause the triple cap. Then you have to get a kill with specifically an Iron Banner weapon to get enhanced radar that you already have. Also, these loading screens, holy shit. To get enhanced radar that you already are probably using and get yourself off of the radar. Or I could just play Hunter and have that up 24/7. I do think that Sentinel with Bubble is the single best class in Iron Banner, with how much sway they have over a match, getting one of the earliest supers in the game, as well as a super that can guarantee breaking a spawn trap and capping a zone even when you're outnumbered. You just put the barricade down inside of the bubble and scrap with people until you win. Then you get a triple cap, and you mercy the game before the opposing team even has a chance to come back. Your team picks up 4 orbs from Crest of Alpha Lupi. Now your bad teammates that are incapable of shooting a gun somehow to team balancing can use supers to push the agenda and mercy a team before they even realistically have a chance to come back. That's the flaw with Iron Banner, especially freelance. It's 6v6 control, but even then, I don't really feel that there's a movement incentive. As long as I got C and B in power ammo, or A and B in power ammo, or C and A in power ammo, just 2 zones, this is pretty much a wrap. I get first bubble, I throw my bubble on the only zone that isn't available. I shoot Wither Horde if I am struggling to cap 2 zones at once and get team balanced into oblivion, and the game mercies before my arguably better opponents have a chance to come back. Sure, it's more efficient for getting Iron Banner tokens, but with the abysmal drop rate anyway of the weapons that you want, I'm playing for fun, most likely, and it's just not fun. The current PvP sandbox in Iron Banner with the light level enabled is not fun. And this is the tippy top of the iceberg of shittiness here about Iron Banner. This is the one playlist where I'm incentivized to try to win for some sort of gain. It's a 2 token gain, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, so I'm mostly playing for fun. It's the one opportunity I get to go on my friends list, my clan or whatever, and invite good PvP players in a 6 stack and try my hardest. And the problem is, I never match 6 stacks. Why is there not team versus team matchmaking? If I didn't want to match teams, I would go to the freelance playlist and get lobby balance there. I go into the Iron Banner regular playlist with 6 players, and I never see another team. And the 1 or 2 times in Iron Banner week that I do, they immediately back out before the game even starts. Then I look up their stats, and they're platinum players. They're phenomenal PvP players. They just don't want to get that ass beat at a 2-token deficit. Or they just really want the multi-mock. But they can't even get that now. They have to go for the Frontier's Cry. PvP is a shit show right now. I hope Bungie has some plans in action. And I had to be blunt on this one. Overall, now let's compliment Sandwich this right now. I said a lot of bad things. There are a lot of good things in Witch Queen too. Having a legendary campaign was great the first time around when you had blue garbage gear. But the second that you start getting competent loadouts, you kind of just fly through this. If I had to give a tip, use Devour, use Overshield and Invis Finisher. Invis, obviously. Void weapons on Volatile, and Gallarhorn. If anything takes more than a sniper rifle shot to kill, shoot it with Gallarhorn. Then, on your class item, you want to make sure that you have Lucent Finisher from the artifact, because if you finish a champion or a Hive Lightbearer, you get more Gallarhorn ammo. Then you use Rocket Scavenger on your boots to get more rockets from said finisher. So as long as you're cycling Devour, Invis Overshield, and Gallarhorn rockets, you are unstoppable in any story mission. So it has kind of trivialized what should have been an interesting legendary campaign. Albeit, I'm appreciative that the option is there. I've already done the legendary campaign 5 times now, maybe even more than that because of the weekly mission. I wish in future expansions I didn't have to do the campaign once per character, just once per account. But I will agree that the storytelling, art team, music team, all of the above knock this shit out of the park. It is a great experience, and I think it's a good starting point, and they could even crank the difficulty up higher and make a third option if they want to. A contest mode one. Well, maybe this is contest mode, but a higher light difference. Make it so I can't shoot Gallarhorn at everything and just run through it holding forward, speed running it. That's not interesting. But I'm still happy the option's there. I dislike that every season, when the Grandmaster Nightfall rolls around, I have to wait till April 5th. You know, the day before this expansion, I was able to do GMs with friends, and now, for some reason, we have to do this arbitrary list of chores to get our light level up, and even then, still wait for the Grandmaster Nightfalls to unlock? Why? Why can't we just do those on day 1? Just contest mode it. Make it so I can never go above anyway, and do them from day 1. That's much more preferable than working towards making them trivial. What else? Oh, I'm saving this one for another day. Gambit rework, they said. Past that, I think PvE has the most interesting sandbox it has ever had for the hard content in the game. The problem is, it's not really much hard content in the game when the raid contest mode goes away almost immediately. It was really interesting to see mono element builds. Team synergy even between that. With the elemental wells, charged with light. Then the aspect fragment system. You had teams of stasis teammates leeching off of each other's aspect fragments, teams of void. You had Thunder Crash for damage at times. I was even using Warmind cells. I was using concussive Warmind cells to pre-spawn adds into Witherhoard so that someone else could figure out mechanics. It was the most interesting and intriguing PvE that Destiny has ever had. Then we're talking about the raid boss, Rolk. The first time that we've had a roaming boss that threatens you sitting in a well and just simply shooting at a boss. I'm a Phantasy Star Online player. Action RPG is in my blood. And to see this finally happen in Destiny 2 at a good pace is a breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to see what more raid boss designs they have in the future, or just boss designs. Ideally, I'd like to see an arena with 2 Rolk-like enemies with less stringent activation mechanics, and yeah, no reliance on 6 people. Just let me solo that shit. It sounds so much fun. And before you're like, it's impossible to beat 2 Rolks. No, it's not. You jump over the lasers and you kite 2 of them at once. You use your movement abilities. You play Behemoth with some sort of crystal farming build so that you can keep using, the melee ability to fly away, Shiver Strike. You play Top Tree Dawn, Stompy Hunter, Shatter Dive, etc., while putting damage in. It's not impossible. I don't feel like I'm asking for some crazy stuff here. But maybe I am. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this impromptu rant and learned about some Iron Banner rolls. TLDR is don't keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Go for the exact roll you think is good. It's probably going to be decent. Take care, everybody. Maybe I'll stream today. I don't know.